Welcome to the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, and today's top secret tip is...
If you're moving your business to a different state, change your SEO and your Google page.
Want to learn what steps are needed when moving your business? Listen to this episode.
Let's go. This is the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, where we share top secret tips to help you take your wedding game to the next level.
I'm Annika, and I'm a wedding coordinator, enthusiast, and venue manager for one of the best venues in Idaho.
I'm Chris, and I'm a DJ, master of ceremonies, and all-around lover of weddings.
We're on a mission to improve weddings and wedding professionals everywhere.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today we've got Haley Lynn. Haley Lynn from Haley Lynn Photography.
That good name. You really,
Yeah.
that was good choice on the name.
Yeah. So you used to be up here in Idaho with us. That's how I got to know you. And now you are in Arizona, correct?
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's been really fun being back here for the week, just working with clients on weddings and family shoots.
Yeah.
And enjoying the weather because it's been so hot in Arizona lately.
It's honestly been really gorgeous up here.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing.
You came at a good
I miss
time.
it so much.
And it's so funny because just a couple of days ago, we put the pieces together. She has a wedding on Wednesday, and I realized I have a wedding on Wednesday. And we're like, oh, it's the same wedding. We're working together. So,
Yeah.
because they had like a different name in the form.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it didn't say like Haley Lynn, so I didn't connect it.
That's okay.
So, yeah. So I'm excited to finally work with you.
Yes. I'm like, it's about time. Like,
Yeah.
I've worked with the other couple guys and been involved with the industry for a while, and now we're working together, and I don't know, it's just so
Very
cool.
Excited.
you guys are going to have so much fun. I'm
can't
missing out.
It'll be-
That's okay.
Come if
You can
want.
join.
That's true. I could.
The couple is
You-
pretty laid back.
Yeah. That's fun.
So the main reason that we wanted to have you on today is to discuss moving your business. I get stressed out just thinking about that.
Yeah. I get stressed out just thinking about like any little change,
Right.
let alone moving
Yeah.
my whole business.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your origin story in photography. How did this happen? How'd you get into photography?
So, just like a lot of other photographers growing up, I loved taking pictures of just random plants and toys and just random things like that.
Sure.
And then just thought, oh, it's a fun hobby, that's it. And so fast forward going into college, I graduated and I ended up working for the newspaper there and being a photo editor. And I realized once I was working in that environment, I was like, okay, I think I could do something like this as a career. Like, it's really fun and I can be creative and kind of just do my own thing. So after graduating, I decided to just start taking on clients and just seeing kind of what I like as far as like, do I like weddings? Do I like families? Do I like babies? When it comes to photographing them.
Yeah.
And I realized when I did my first wedding, I charged $400 for it, which is like so cheap.
Yeah.
And basically, once I did that wedding for the first time, I realized I'm like, I am so meant to be in the wedding industry.
This is me.
It's so much fun. And for me, it's not stressful. I feel like a lot of people in the wedding industry, it's either like, you're made for it or you're not. Like, can you handle the stress?
Dude,
And
so true.
yeah. And I felt like after that first experience I had with it, I was like, this is totally my calling. Like, I have to be involved in this process and just creating and capturing these memories. It's just so fun. It never ends.
A wedding photographer is, I think, different than other types of photographers because you have to have an additional set of skills to be able to wrangle people. Like,
1,000%.
yeah.
I can always tell if there's a photographer photographing a wedding and they don't usually do weddings. Oh, I can tell.
Oh.
I'm sure you could.
Because it's like, okay, they're used to something a little different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And like, I've noticed like growing in this industry and growing my own business, like you really have to be a people person to be in the wedding industry. Like if you don't like people, probably not a thing you want to do.
Yeah.
But just being involved with like the memories and like the story behind like the couples when they get married and more of the traditions of marriage and the importance of marriage, you just have to really like that kind of stuff. And
You're speaking my language.
yeah.
it.
So it's, you could definitely tell when you're working with other vendors, especially like if you know other photographers and stuff, like who they're made more for like the wedding industry or more like a family photographer and stuff like that. So you really just have to really like being a part of it and just like people and just know how to deal with high stress, especially. with weddings is everyone's always stressed out.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I think too, when you're a photographer in the wedding industry, it's so much more than just collecting a paycheck. We talk a lot about being in that day and painting the picture. But it's, I've seen some photographers and you can tell that they're just like, okay, where's my money?
Yeah.
And really, it's so much more than just a paycheck.
Yeah, like majority of my clients, I feel like I'm kind of especially when I was living in this area, like most people, are getting married in the, the LDS temple and stuff like that. My clientele ended up being more towards like traditional marriages and like just different religious backgrounds. And so I would commit to them within a year plus, working with them and planning their wedding and helping them with vendors and doing their engagements and just like really building that relationship longer than a couple months. Like it's a year plus for me.
And I think that for me, we've said this so many times, but obviously we haven't said this to you. I think that that's the joy of working in this industry is you get, like, I love DJing, I love emceeing, I love all that stuff. But what I really love most is being able to understand their story and share in their story. And that's really where a lot of the job satisfaction comes from. I mean, the paycheck is great too, but I really love getting to know people and kind of morphing into the puzzle piece that fits into their story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels so good. So, so I want to talk about, let's jump right into the, like, when you decided that you were going to move and what your initial kind of stress looked like what fears went through your head at first.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about how you tackled them. So when did you decide you needed to move and what prompted that move?
So when my husband, he was, at the time we were living in Idaho Falls, he was working at ERMAC as an ICU nurse, especially like during the COVID time. So it was pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was so crazy. But he decided he wanted to continue his education and look into nurse anesthesia. So he started looking into programs around the United States. And one program that stuck out to him was the one in Arizona, which is where I'm from. And so
how close is it to like family?
About an hour. I would
that's not
say.
bad.
But it's really
Close enough to
bad.
visit, but not close enough for an unexpected pop-over.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he was like, I think this is the school I'm going to apply for. So as soon as he started talking about that, I was like, okay, we're going to be moving. Like, there's no doubt. I need to start like figuring out what I want to do as far as like marketing and like getting myself involved with the wedding industry in Arizona. And at that time, especially when we found out he was accepted, I had just had a baby and we were like, should we sell our house? Should we rent it? And that's when the housing market like went crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So we got in a really good spot between the time he got accepted to the time we moved to sell our house within 24 hours, which was insane.
Oh my goodness.
It was insane. Yeah.
Awesome.
And immediately like trying to pack, like I started like working on my SEO, which I can talk about a little bit later. Started working my SEO as far as marketing out in that valley and also getting myself involved in some groups, especially Facebook. I love social media, especially Facebook. Getting involved with groups like bride groups and like honeymoon groups and photographer groups and get my name out there because it is so important to like, especially if you're going to continue your business to a different state, to just get on the marketing as soon as possible.
So let me ask about kind of your headspace there. When you were starting to reach out to these groups, were you acting as if you already lived there, or were you like, I'm moving there and I can do your wedding? Like, what was your wording like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I did both. More on the bride groups. There's a couple really big bride groups in the Phoenix Valley, and a lot of those I would say, hey, I'm moving there in a month. You know, I have a special deal going on, just to kind of get people to
smart.
book.
Yeah.
I think that's so smart when you move to a new area. Do like a special or deal, a couple $100 off your wedding collections that are most popular, and just say, this is me, this is who I am, this is my work. And if you want to work with me, I have this availability and here's the deal for you. Here's a couple $100 off or whatever. To kind of get your foot through the door a little bit more. So I did.
And did that work?
It did.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It definitely did. And being in the Phoenix Valley, there's over, I think the last time I looked, the population was a couple days ago. I think there's about 4 million in the Phoenix Valley. It's pretty big.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like, it's a big section of the state.
A little bigger than here.
No, just a little bit. Just a little bit. But there's just so many groups and so many people there. Like, I feel like there's a lot of competition to work with, but also there's a lot of networking you can do, and working with other people saying, hey, if you need a second shooter or an associate, I'm moving, this is my style, see if we're a good connection.
Okay.
So I did a lot of Instagram reaching out and like literally do the hashtag Phoenix photographer, Chandler photographer, and see what people's accounts came up. And I would just message them saying, hey, I'm coming to the area. How's the wedding industry like down here? Like, can I be on your list to be an associate if you are needing one in the future? And
So this is mostly photographers you're reaching out to.
Yes.
And what was the reception like?
The reception was pretty good. I would say majority of people got back to me. A couple didn't, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But most people got back saying, hey, welcome. It's so great to have you come. And then here's my information. Sure, I'll add you to the list.
It helps that your pictures are dope.
They are.
It helps quite a bit. Yeah.
It does. And like also being in the industry for a while, like you kind of know like how to ask these questions without feeling like you're bombarding over them or like trying to get like free like resources.
Baking.
Yeah. So you kind of get a way of like asking a certain way on these things, and people are usually pretty receptive about that.
Right. Because I'm guessing that behind this, like you wanted to get your foot in the door, but you wanted to get your foot in the right door, right? You wanted to still, you had artistic integrity, and you wanted to make sure that you kept kind of to your artistic integrity, and also your financial integrity, right?
Yes.
To make sure that the people that you were aligning yourself with, that they were on the same level as you were.
Exactly.
Because I could imagine in an alternate world, you just take whatever you can, and then it starts to look like begging, right?
Yes.
So, but by doing what you did, you were able to get the events that you needed, right?
Yes, absolutely. And like, even though I moved and had another kid, like it was a little bit harder to balance two babies, while being a boss babe. So I had to be a little bit slower on as far as like who I'm taking in for clients for the year. But now that, I've kind of gotten the kids to grow up a little bit more, got a system with grandparents to babysit, like it's a lot easier to kind of do my own thing and like take in more clients and really network more and just be more involved with the wedding industry out there.
So, how did you balance, like, because there was a date where you were not in Idaho anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So how did you balance, like, being in a new place versus having clients in the old place? Did you just travel a lot, or?
So that's a good question. So, being like, I feel like a lot of my clients that are here in Idaho, East Idaho, Wyoming, that whole bubble, I just stay in connection with them. Like, I feel like I've built a great relationship with a lot of my previous clients, and that could be one reason why they continue to ask me when I'm coming back out here to do more shoots and stuff, or like do one of their siblings' weddings or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just continue to keep that relationship with them and kind of get them involved more in my personal life. I'm a people person, so I like to open up about the struggles I've had, the success I've had, and like find the connections with people that way. And so most of my clients that I've worked out here in the past, they really appreciate that, and they really think, oh, wow, she actually kind of cares. Like, she's not just a person I'm hiring to take pictures, and so we stay involved in each other's lives, not like talking every day,
That's weird.
But yeah, that's a little weird. But just making that relationship just precious, and just keeping that throughout the years, the months, or whatever. And then usually around like a fall time, or when people want to get pictures, then they'll reach out and be like, hey, are you coming out here? And I'm like, actually, I am. Yeah. And it makes it so worth coming back and, working with them again. So like this week that I'm here, it's all people I've worked with for the past 5 years. Like, I've done their weddings, I've done their baby shoots, I've done family shoots, I've done everything. So
yeah. I did have one question. So when you decided like, okay, we're moving, did you have weddings booked in Idaho?
I did. Yeah.
How did you handle that?
That's a good question. So when I first moved and I was pregnant, I ended up hiring an amazing associate photographer to cover me last fall? Yeah, last fall, when I had just had a kid. And so I couldn't cancel on them because I'm like, I'm already invested. Like, I don't want them to, be disappointed, even though I accidentally got pregnant, but it was a good accident.
Yeah.
And so I ended up hiring an associate to cover me for those weeks, and it all worked out great. And then people still reached out to me after that for this year to come back to shoot weddings. Not a lot, but a couple people, and that's fine. And so I'm like, really? You guys really want to cover my travel and have me come out?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, of course. You're so worth it. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like just from making an imprint on either like their family members and they were like a guest at a wedding and then they're getting married and they want to fly me out. It's just the little things from previous experience that make people want to book me besides, you know, being talented and stuff. It's just, I don't know if it's just me because I'm a friendly person or I don't know, I'm just not judgmental or I don't know. It just, there's some kind of connection I can make with people and guests and then they end up wanting to fly me out here. So
that answers a question that I had. So you are, you're charging for travel when you're coming back here. So now anything here is a destination for you.
Basically,
there's no longer a deal or anything like that. It's just, you want me, you pay.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like at a point in how long I've been doing this, I've been doing this for 8 years now. In the beginning, like, you know, just like any other photographer or even vendor, whatever, you just take as many people as you can. But once you start like gaining that specific clientele that you really want and stuff, you can really pick and choose who to work with, which is my favorite thing.
And I think you should.
Oh, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Everyone should at some point in their business because you're not going to make everybody happy and they're not going to be happy with you. So you want to just pick those people that really see something special in you and are worth paying that extra money for you, even to fly out or whatever. So, yeah.
The thing that I always say is I don't want somebody that wants a DJ. I want somebody who wants what I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think in the industry, honestly, it's really common to just get so blindsided by, oh, it's business. I want to just get everything. But really get to that point where you can choose what you're doing and it just is tenfold worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because then you get to do exactly what you want to do. And you get much better. I could talk about that all.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the specifics for, let's say somebody is thinking about it. What are the steps that you took? So you already talked about Facebook groups.
Yes.
And reaching out to others on Instagram.
Yes.
Other photographers. You mentioned SEO. What steps did you take there?
Yes. So basically, as soon as we found out we were moving, I immediately went into my website, changed all of my SEO targeting the Phoenix area. So instead of my website saying East Idaho, Wyoming, it said Phoenix.
Yeah.
And so just starting that SEO trip with like marketing and just trying to get back on the Google pages. So when people search you up.
So you switch your Google business page as well.
Yes. I switched everything.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Especially when you build it up in one area and you're like, oh, this is doing great. And then once you switch everything, it's like you're starting brand new almost.
Did you track that at all?
A little bit, yeah.
And so how long from when you changed it over to when you started getting inquiries was that?
Probably 2 months,
2
if
months.
that, 2 to 3 months, I would say. Yeah. More on the website it was a lot quicker to get inquiries than like through social media because I feel like nowadays with Instagram and Facebook, like it kind of like picks and chooses like want to showcase
and
stuff.
you're like connected with mostly people in a certain area. So
Right.
it's gonna
So like most of my followers on like Instagram, for example, are from Idle Falls, Jackson, you know, Bozeman, whatever. So it was hard to, on Instagram especially, it was hard to get that transition to the Phoenix area or just where I'm living. But it ended up working out just fine. You know, it's starting to pick up and sometimes it takes a while and you just have to be patient with that kind of change because sometimes it doesn't happen overnight, you know.
What time of the year did you make that change?
It was between Christmas and New Year's.
Christmas and New Year's.
Really made a lot of those changes because that was right when we moved.
So that's when you could start picking up events for that year, but then the higher end ones the following year after that.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. And in Arizona, like, you know how here in the East Idaho area, like it's really popular to get married in the summer and the fall, a little bit in the spring, and then the winter's like kind of dead. It's the opposite.
That makes a lot of sense.
So for you, you were picking up those like September through March weddings.
Yeah.
When you got, okay, that's smart.
Yeah. It's
makes
so
sense.
smart. So if I really wanted to, I could like work half the year here and half the year there. Just so I'm constantly busy, but I know realistically that's probably not going to happen.
Crazy.
But if I didn't have kids and I was just newly married, like I would totally do that.
Yeah.
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 What advice would you give someone that's starting their photography business?
there are so many things I could say from all of my experience, but I think the biggest thing is to invest in yourself. Invest in the equipment, invest in the website, invest in education, and really any mentorship opportunities. Because you have to think, I was actually just thinking about this the other day when I was listening to a podcast about photography, basically saying, if you don't invest in yourself, why would someone else invest in you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, especially those that are just starting, it can be, a little rough. You're trying to figure out what you want to do and stuff. But once you kind of figure out what you want to do, especially if it's in the wedding industry, you just really need to invest in yourself and like kind of fork up a little bit of money. I'm not saying go into debt, but it is so important to, get the education you need, learn how to do stuff, learn how to gain that clientele, how to be unique in you and have yourself stand out more against the rest of the industry in that area, I guess. You just really have to put a lot of time and effort into establishing your business with all these materials.
Yeah. I think what's so important in that is determining who you are and selling yourself. You can see what other people are doing, what's working for them, but ultimately people are going to want to invest in what makes you different and unique.
Exactly. So like, for example, a few years ago, I decided to be courageous and share my IVF story. And I received so much love and support from that. But also while I was working, I would share like, okay, this is my update from my doctor. This is what we're doing in a couple weeks. These are the medications I'm doing. And I had so many people reach out and be like, I had no idea this was a thing you were doing, but that is so amazing. You're telling your story and stuff. Yeah. And I got a lot of inquiries, especially that year. I think it was 2020, that I, got a lot of clients because I was courageous just to share my story. Yeah. And they're like, I connect with you. I don't like, I can't relate to it, but like I can understand A, B, and C. And then they'll be like, actually, I want you to do my engagements or whatever. So just being your honest self online, like it really does pay off.
I always tell my staff that people connect emotionally and logically. So logically, they want to make sure like you're the good fit. They're looking for a photographer. You take photos. That logically makes sense. But humans are so much more than just logic. They're emotional. So if you're courageous to share that, and if you have something to just make yourself more human, not just a business front, people connect with people.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you can't, like, if you're going to be a wedding photographer, especially, or just really any photographer, like, and you just say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I like my pumpkin spice latte and I like dogs. Like, sometimes you have to be a little more personalized.
Yeah.
Just say a couple of those standard things, So I feel like on my website, I say like people know me for my hair bun and my crazy eyebrows or whatever, because a lot of people would compliment on that stuff. And so people just would like remember little things like that. And also when you work with them during shoots, like if you're going to be yourself and be, your silly self and not like quiet and like self-reserved, like people are going to really connect with you and really create that established friendship. So they can trust you to capture their memories and stuff.
No, I totally agree. I just, I think I've worked with you on some projects, and like one of my most takeaway moments with you is you are the ultimate hype girl.
I really am.
No, seriously. And it's just like, a lot of times when you're behind the camera, like you don't want to feel insecure and nervous and have someone that's quiet on the other end. And so I always heard from other clients of yours like, oh, well, Haley, she's your ultimate hype girl. Like you will feel so confident. And I was like, awesome. And that's exactly what I experienced.
Yeah. And I love being that hype girl, and I genuinely do it. Like it's not forced.
Oh, yeah. No, and like I always say humans are the biggest BS detectors, and it is genuine from you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm generally just a wonderful, nice person. At least I think I am. And so I feel like, I don't know, I just see the good in people, and I don't judge. And like if someone's doing something different than me, even if it's a client, like I don't say anything about it, but I'm like, good for you for standing up to yourself or being this courageous or being awesome or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it's hard for me to see differences in people and just see more of the good in them. And so that also helps in a wedding business, especially just to have that, I don't know.
I think that's what you want in a photographer, somebody that's able to see the good. like,
Yeah, agreed.
because that's what they're going to be capturing. That's what they're aiming at. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I did have a question. You said something a little bit ago that I am genuinely curious about.
Yes.
You said education. What has been the best education that you've gotten that's given you the most back?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
So I did get my bachelor's at BYUI, and it did help me in the beginning, like as far as how to set up a business, how to take pictures, how to edit, how to do some logo designs, just the base of everything. Once I figured out exactly what I wanted, what my style is, all that stuff, I ended up investing in a couple online courses. One person that maybe a lot of photographers know, her name's Jenna Kutcher, and she is a boss babe. And about 10 years ago, she was really into the wedding industry with wedding photography and taught a lot of online courses on like how to Pinterest market, how to do the SEO, how to really get yourself to stand out as a photographer in your area. And so her and a few others, I ended up investing in those online courses where there was a workbook and they had like step-by-step guides on how to do these things and to get yourself to stand out. And so I ended up, spending a few $100 here and there and did that kind of education, and it paid itself. So also getting involved in workshops when other photographers create, like weekend workshops or how to teach like certain looks on like bridals and this and that, just getting different angles and getting different ideas from other photographers and like working that way is really good too. You learn so much from other people and also from these photographers that make 6-7 figures and are booked 2 years ahead, in advance. And so learning from those types of people are just, it's like gold. Like it's fantastic. So.
And I mean, most of these courses are not very expensive, and the workshops are usually not very expensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You make it back like in one event.
Yeah.
Easily.
Exactly. Even if you go to like a day workshop where you have 2 to 3 couples and you use it for advertisement, for Instagram, blogs and stuff like that, it pays itself. It really does.
Yeah. I did have a question. Didn't you, I'm going to be so embarrassed if this is wrong, but didn't you just recently revamp your website?
I did.
And did you hire that out?
Oh, yes.
Talk about that.
Yes, I'm the type of person that likes to do everything my way. I am like very headstrong when it comes to that stuff, but I realized I had to take a step back and be more realistic. Like, okay, I'm a mom of 2, under 2. I have no time to redesign my own website or just even the slightest thing. So I ended up hiring a photographer out in Florida, and she does a lot of website revamps and designs and has a girl that does logo designs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make this investment in myself and just pay it and then see what she does. And then it was very easy. She took less than a week to get my website done. All I had to do was submit, images, a color scheme, kind of the vibe I wanted, and then just all the text I wanted on it. Yeah. And she put it all together. It was done. Wow. Saved me a lot of time.
When you launched it, I definitely spent some time scrolling.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. But I think it's just so important to know, like, just because you can do something, sometimes it's worth hiring it out.
Yes.
And there are other people out there where that is their strong suit.
Yeah.
So, just invest in your brand.
Yes, exactly.
Don't be afraid to hire out.
Yeah, don't be afraid to hire out. And you're also supporting other businesses as well.
Yeah.
When you reach out to people and say, hey, I have no time to do this, but this is the vision I have. Can you do this? And also, it's a great write-off for taxes. So that is amazing to invest in yourself and then use it for write-offs, a tax year.
Yeah.
I think something you said a minute ago is very key, though, at least in my experience. You said I could do it, but I think it's important to hire it out because for me, I always want to know how to do everything in my business.
Same.
Like, before I send it out, I want to know exactly what's happening. So that way, if something gets messed up, I can step in if I need to.
Right.
Yeah, there are very few things that in my business I will just say, you take care of all of it, and I just put the blindfold on.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, I just, I feel like the past year or 2 has been a huge learning curve for me with delegation because I am so very like, well, I can do it. I'll just do it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry
the
about it.
same way.
Yeah. And there's a phrase that I've been living by, and it's delegate and elevate. And by delegating certain things, it's just going to elevate your whole business. So,
Yeah, exactly. I've had it just still for the longest time. I still have a hard time of delegating as well.
yeah.
Where I think I can do absolutely everything. And I learn now looking back, I'm like, that was so much time I could have focused on something else that I know
Yeah.
how to do and stuff. So really investing your time in like on those people that can help elevate your business and, even, logo design, website design, whatever, even like blogging, like reaching out to people that can focus on that stuff, that know what they're doing. That way you can focus on the things you know about the most, like you love to do.
Exactly.
Makes sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's just so important. Like, so in my situation, I have some staff under me, and a lot of times I'll be like, well, I can just take care of this. But what can I delegate that's going to help them learn and develop? Whereas if I just take it, I'm really robbing them opportunities of learning.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
yeah.
And I really like, especially when I was living here, I loved that a lot of, especially photographers, like loved helping each other and like, not competition, but just more like, helping each other. And I really love the fact that if I invest in someone to do something for me, like I'm helping their business, I'm helping their family eat for the week or whatever, like that is really important to me because people do that for me, like they pay for my services and now I can pay rent or, so it's really great to like work with each other that way and build each other's dreams up.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
With that too, I just think it's so important to delegate things that you do like doing if other people want to learn about that.
Yeah.
So, not hogging everything that you love. But also like don't always delegate what you hate. It's kind of a balance because
True.
don't waste your time on something that you hate. But at the same time, I always use this example, and this is little for a venue, but like taking out the trash. You know how easy it would be for me to be like, I'm going to delegate that. I don't want to take out trash. But you have to be willing to do what you're delegating.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You kind of have to be comfortable doing the things you're not a huge fan of, but you still have to do.
And I think that also shows like by example, like okay, how do I say this? Instead of forcing somebody else to do something that you don't want to do, then when your back is turned, they're going to be like, well, I was just doing it because they asked me to do it, so I'm not going to do it on my own. But in turn, if you do it and they see you do it, then they're like, okay, this is just what we do.
yeah.
Instead of feeling like angry that you were asked to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is a balance because then if you look at your business, if there's something that's not your strong suit and you don't like doing it, totally hire it out to a professional where that is their strong suit.
Yeah.
It's kind of a balance, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that, I mean, we've talked about this, but like the thing that I hate is the thing that they love.
yeah.
And it's crazy
That's
to me.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to edit video? That's
Right.
insane, but okay.
Yeah.
Like, here's money. So,
No,
yeah.
exactly. Well, I think like my biggest example of that is just I hate social media. I hate social media.
Yeah.
I hate it. But there are so many people that they're like, I love social media. Let me do your social media. And I'm like, okay, there you go.
Take
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Social media has just grown so insanely crazy, especially TikTok. Like for me, I'm not like, I'll watch TikToks, but I have not really made any. I think I've made 2 as far as like for my business, but I still like, for me, I still need to invest in that education. It's more of just when to do it. When's the best time for me to do that? But that TikTok trend is super crazy right now with
It is.
the wedding industry, and I'm still yet to hop on it. But
if you're getting enough inquiries,
then it's okay.
right.
Yeah.
Then it's okay.
Yeah. It's totally true.
But do you have any other questions that we should ask her, or should we jump to rapid fire?
Well, is there anything on your notes that we
anything
didn't
we can
hit?
get to share?
She like has a novel here of information.
I just prepped really well.
She really
So I'd
think we
hate to
covered-
silence you.
No, I think we covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not think of anything.
So now we're gonna do rapid fire questions.
Don't stress.
Yeah.
They're fun.
They're
fun.
easy, fun. And we'll just go for, I don't know, 30 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite color?
Pink.
Love it. What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Nice. Favorite wedding trend?
That's a hard one. I like the new trend of where the couple sits at the reception and people at each table run to the couple to take
That's
a quick
fun.
picture. I've yet to do that, and I hope we can do that Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I love that trend. I think it's so cute.
Least favorite wedding trend.
I'm not really huge into like having a ton of people do speeches. I honestly think one person should do a speech and call it good.
For sure.
Because they can take forever.
Yeah, they can.
I guess
Yeah.
that's a trend. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Movies or TV shows? Sorry.
Yeah, good.
What was that?
Movies or TV shows?
I really love movies.
You love movies?
Yeah, especially lately the Oppenheimer movie. That was
Oh, it was very good.
It was good.
so good. Go see it.
Yeah, it was very good. Biggest DJ pet peeve?
When they don't know what they're doing.
I agree with that.
That's fair.
When they just sit there and quiet and it's like, hello, you're a DJ. You're supposed to like get people going.
You are the party.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for being on our podcast and sharing your wisdom. It's such a stressful thing to move your business, but you've done it successfully, and we applaud it. And
Thank you.
We appreciate you sharing your journey, literal journey with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on today.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Top Secret Wedding Podcast.
Subscribe, rate, and review us, and we'll see you next time.